Hello and welcome to our Grant Spotlight presentation. I'm Sally Lyons, Chief Executive of the Road Safety Trust, and I'm going to start with a brief introduction before handing over to Louise, who will give you an insight into 3 different projects that we've funded out of the 56 funded so far up to March this year. As I said before, Tanya, unfortunately, is not well enough to speak today. She is on the call, but she's not well enough to present. So Louise is going to cover for her on the 2 projects that she would have talked about. And yeah, our best wishes go to Tanya for a speedy recovery. Thank you for moving on to the next slide. We have an ambitious vision to achieve 0 deaths and serious injuries on UK roads. This vision is shared with UK Road, our trading company, which operates the Endor scheme on behalf of participating police forces around the UK. Any surplus made by UK Road is donated up to the charity at the end of the financial year, and this is the source of our grant giving income, which goes back into road safety initiatives. No one organisation can achieve such an ambitious vision on its own, and the contribution that the Trust can make is by having an impact through its funding of practical measures, research, dissemination and education. The arrow on this slide reflects the journey that a project may take to realise a tangible difference on the roads, and we're always looking for projects to move from the left-hand side of this arrow to the right-hand side of this arrow. Next slide, please. And this slide illustrates our recently refreshed strategy map, which shows how every aspect of our work feeds into the purpose and vision, starting with our code of ethics, values and foundations. The 5 strategic priorities illustrate our areas of activity: intelligence that defines, research that informs, pilots that test, dissemination that reaches, and advocacy that influences. As a team of only 2.75 full-time equivalent staff in the Trust and a board of volunteer trustees, fulfilling these 5 strategic priorities would be nigh on impossible if we did not work in partnership with other organisations, primarily with our grantees, but also with Road Safety GB for dissemination, PACTS for advocacy, UK Road and our membership. We are all working towards the same goal. Next slide, please. Who benefits and where? This slide gives the snapshot of the 56 projects funded up to the end of March this year. It does not include the technology main theme grants we're currently in the process of awarding and due to announce soon, or the small grants which are being submitted to us as we speak. While last financial year was low in terms of awards made due to COVID-19, with just less than £300,000 awarded through our Small Grants Plus programme, this year it looks as though we'll be more than making up for it, with awards somewhere between £1 to £1.5 million. Alongside the obvious aim of seeking projects that have high road safety impact potential, we also try to achieve what's detailed on this slide, i.e., a good spread of projects across different types of road users, different types of organisation being able to apply and manage projects, and a geographical spread across all parts of the UK. While we think we're doing okay, we know that we could do better on the geographical spread, and we would, and always do, welcome more project applications from the devolved nations in particular. All of this information, which I appreciate is quite small for you on this slide, is contained in our 20 to 21 annual report, the latest one, which can now be viewed online. Next slide, please, Louise. So our first 5 years, a little bit of a stock take. As a grant giving charity, we're keen to benchmark our activities, including our award levels. The higher the unsuccessful application level, the more questions need to be asked about how clear our guidance and expectations are, and overall ease and accessibility of the grant application process. We're pleased to say that we do currently fall within the national average, with our current award level versus applications received being 28%. We're also shortly going to be working with an organisation called NFP Synergy to carry out a survey of our grantees and unsuccessful applicants. And we will use the findings from this survey to develop and improve further in readiness for our next main theme in autumn next year. Our very first grant awards were made in 2016-17 and were what we call open response, i.e. they could be about any initiative at all designed to improve road safety. We received 100 such applications over the course of 3 financial years, of which 37 were approved with a value of 2.6 million. In 2018, following a strategic review by the trustee board and my joining the trust, we set a new strategy, which meant the introduction of a focused main theme grants programme and the small grants programme. The information in this slide for those 3 bullet points at the bottom is up to the end of March this year again. Next slide, please. A review of our first 4 funding rounds showed a relatively high proportion of education, training and publicity projects. In order to seek applications from a range of other approaches, we focused the next 2 funding rounds to encourage more innovative engineering and enforcement approaches. The completed projects span most road user types. There are 25 completed projects in all, and we have since funded a large project with Transport Scotland, but no projects based in Scotland have completed as yet. I'm not going to go through all the detail of this slide because I'm conscious of time. Next slide, please, Louise. Let me introduce our impact wheel. If you haven't already seen our impact report, published in June this year. The impact wheel is tailored to the trust to measure and convey the impact of our funding. It's based on the safe system model and puts the trust's vision at the centre: 0 road deaths and serious injuries on UK roads. This is the imperative at the centre of the safe system model, making the safe system the perfect approach for articulating the impact of funded projects. The change mechanisms which you see around the edges in the model relate to the elements within projects which contribute to this vision. And the 25 completed projects served as the starting point for us to develop our impact framework with the results as follows. Next slide, please, Louise. So we show here 14 of the completed projects have had an impact so far or have the potential to impact on safer people. The next one is 5 projects, improved road safety management impact. 3, I can't actually read the safer vehicles, apologies. 2 with safer speeds and 1 with safer roads. And obviously going forward, we look to try and fill improved post-crash response because there is no projects completed in that area yet. And obviously it shows us where the projects, where we have the most impact and where we could do with funding other projects that will help bring the others up in line as well. So as projects complete, they will be added into this framework for us to report against on a regular basis going forward. Every one of our stakeholders has some ownership of our impact as a grant giving trust. So whether you are in the police, i.e. our members, as UK Road, our only funder, one of our grantees or wider supporters, we could not do this without you. Our hardworking staff and grants committee look carefully at potential impact of projects at application stage, and meeting our charitable purpose depends entirely on us making a difference together with you. Thank you. That's the end of my introduction, and I'm going to hand over to Louise now to talk through 3 of the projects.
Hello, I'm Louise Palomino and I'm the Grants Director at the Road Safety Trust. Today I'm going to share with you a small sample of the diverse projects in our portfolio. The first project I'd like to talk about was awarded in March 2020 to Derby City Council. This was one of the 6 grants approved as part of the inaugural Small Grants programme. The award to Derby City Council develops the knowledge of local authorities in managing road surface skid resistance on the local road network. It shows a strong partnership model and was nominated for the 2021 Highways Award. This exciting project successfully completed in July this year, despite all the challenges posed by the pandemic. The team have made a video to introduce what is a relatively complex project. The research has produced a new methodology dubbed LASR, or the Local Authority Skid Resistance, a new approach for managing local authority skid resistant decisions that challenges conventional approaches. Currently, many authorities base their approach to skid maintenance and skid resistance thresholds on those adapted for the strategic road network. The team has used data from 11 local authorities to potentially bridge a significant knowledge gap. Their work investigates whether guidance and thresholds are transferable between the strategic road network and local roads, given the differences in road geometry, junction types, and traffic. For example, the analysis suggests that different thresholds would be viable for certain site categories, such as junctions and roundabouts. The new model focused specifically on the relationship between a local skid resistance and a local collision risk. Based solely on local authority data, this approach is intended to help local authorities across the UK to implement a true risk-based approach that has the potential to save lives and reduce injury by identifying the sites most likely to benefit from maintenance treatment and prioritise limited maintenance budgets. We are thrilled to support this project. It champions the Road Safety Trust commitment to evidence-led decision-making in road safety. It is a great example of the sort of scalable, practical interventions and trials we are looking to target, particularly with our small grants programme. Delivered as a collaboration between Derby City Council, 11 other local authorities, and research and analysis partners, it also embodies the partnership working approach that is so important to us. The project is getting recognition within the industry. It has been nominated for the Steve Berry Highways Authority Innovation Award at the 2021 Highways Awards later this month. Awards are given to the entry that best demonstrates an approach and intervention that has allowed them to develop a project or scheme that delivers measurable and sustainable benefits to the community. I think this quote from Kelly Bowden, Interim Head of Service for Highways at Derby City Council, sums up the potential impact of this work very well. So what next? As you can see, the model has potential implications for the types and numbers of sites recommended for maintenance in the future. It does represent a significant departure from the current approach, and the team plan to proceed with caution. They are now looking to pilot the implementation of this approach with additional local authority partners to validate the methodology. They plan to treat selected sites under the new and current approach and monitor outcomes to assess whether benefits are actually delivered in practice. This will also allow them to expand the data set and increase the granularity of the analysis. The next project I'd like to talk about is a research project with PACTS, looking at the safety of private e-scooters. I'm sure you all noticed the proliferation of e-scooters in the last year. This is largely because the pandemic brought forward government plans to launch e-scooter trials. Awarded via the Small Grants Plus programme launched last September, the main objective of this project is to provide data and information to inform decisions about the regulations for construction and use of private e-scooters. The project is working in parallel with the Department for Transport's rental scheme and is designed to complement, not duplicate, the learning that is expected to result from the government-backed rental schemes. The regulated devices that are part of the DFT trials have quite different characteristics to private use e-scooters and represent a small share of the total number of e-scooters on the roads today. Non-fatal incidents involving private e-scooters are also more likely to be underreported, as there is no obligation for them to be reported to the police. PACTS research will therefore enhance government research by capturing data involving all e-scooters for hire and those being used illegally. I'll let the project team tell you a bit more about the research.
In August 2020, e-scooters for hire began appearing on streets across England as government-backed and regulated trial schemes were introduced by various local authorities. The government says the objective of the trials is to learn from them, with a view to future legislation. However, they are not studying the hundreds of thousands of privately owned e-scooters which are currently illegal to use on public roads, pavements, cycle tracks and parks. Over the summer of 2021, there were at least 10 deaths, and there have been hundreds of injuries, most unreported. Groups representing pedestrians and blind people are particularly concerned about pavement riding. Thanks to funding from the Road Safety Trust, PACTS is undertaking a research project into the safety of private e-scooter use. With a consortium of partners, we are collecting data on collisions across the UK and regularly publishing it on our website. Details of the number of casualties and the nature of injuries, along with research from our project partners, will inform our recommendations about the regulations for the construction and use of private e-scooters prior to legislation, which is expected in 2022.
Alongside a published research report and a webinar, PACTS is also developing a publicly accessible webpage with e-scooter casualty data to share the research. The project webpage is up and running and is updated monthly with data from the media, police forces, and at least one major trauma centre. Government trials are open until March 2022, with results expected to be published at the end of December 2021. PACTS anticipate that, should legislation be passed, this will happen in spring 2022, and they are therefore planning to publish their report in early 2022. Some of the interim results shown here from March to September are already shedding some light on the scale of the problem. The last project I would like to talk about is a bit different because it's an innovative community-based road safety project. The project came about as a result of a programme of planned road closures in the eastern area of Bristol. We were approached by a newly formed school parent-teacher association who saw an opportunity to work with the community to co-design a new space. An artist worked with children, parents and the community in order to come up with a design process and a design. Here you will see before and after pictures of the location of the closure. A junction leading to one of the 3 school entrances at Bannerman Road Community Academy was a hazard to children at the school, with speeding issues and unsafe parking. In 2017, Eastern Safer Streets, a government initiative to improve road safety and encourage active travel, were given the go-ahead to pedestrianise the area. Bannerman Road PTA used this opportunity to make positive change. They wanted to use the new pedestrian area to create a safe and healthy environment outside the school. A steering group was established made up of representatives from the whole community, school, parents, councillors, Bristol City Council, Network Rail and other community groups. an artist was commissioned to consult and design a safe, playful space that engaged the local community. He worked with the children at the school to creatively reimagine the area, what it could look like and how it might function. Additionally, a series of events to engage parents and local residents took place. Following the consultation, the artist identified 3 key areas for improvement: safety, identity, and community. The Eastern Safer Streets design included a raised table to slow traffic and improved lighting and signage. The artist and Bannerman Road PTA took this one step further to improve road safety by introducing a museum of bollards, a playful collection of different bollards all painted the same colour that skirts the area, and a large coloured surface to indicate a child-led space. The area previously had no name, being known as a junction or the railway bridge outside the school. Bannerman Road PTA wanted to give the area a name and therefore an identity, encouraging residents to feel a sense of ownership and to value the space. A poll was completed to decide the name, and local residents selected Frog March, the historical name for the area of Easton, which was known as Frog March until around 1950. Illustrations for the new area were then created. To make the space a community area and encourage social use, new furniture was designed, creating a warm, welcoming space. The children of Bannerman Road also requested a small stage for events and activities. The new space was launched to the public with a series of events. The events celebrate the safe space and the contribution of all the participants, demonstrating the opportunities that the new area provides. The end result of the project is the new pedestrian space itself. We have a report which will be released shortly, and also a video sharing the learning from the project, and both of these will be made available to stakeholders, including other road safety practitioners. The original decision to close the road was contentious and there were considerable objections. The project is based in a deprived area of Bristol, and originally there were some concerns that it would create a Great Wall and exacerbate problems in the area of gentrification, poverty and inequality. The evaluation so far indicates that the project was very successful in overcoming these issues of perception and creating buy-in for the road closure and raising importance of road safety. There is also a parallel evaluation by Sustrans due to report shortly, which looks at measures such as traffic speed and volumes in the immediate and adjacent areas. Finally, I'll leave you with this quote from the Bristol City Council Eastern Safer Streets team. I personally felt that Albion Road was the most successful project in the Eastern Safer Streets scheme, and I think it is the one with the longest impact. It had the most buy-in from the community in terms of what we were trying to deliver in the rest of Eastern as well. We think this project will be very interesting to other road safety practitioners who have often encountered problems of perception and buy-in for active travel and road closure schemes. We have been really impressed by how the school PTA have managed this project and by what a difference a well-known run community-based scheme can make. You could say that the scheme also makes a case for the use of experimental traffic orders and for bringing in schemes such as these as part of a trial. More information about our grants programme and our funded projects is available on our website, and we also publish our grants on a shared funders portal called 360 Giving. You can stay connected with us via Twitter and YouTube or email us. Thank you for listening.